Welcome to the Excelsior Health podcast. This is the podcast for busy professionals, busy parents that are battling with weight gain, high stress, and a drop of self-confidence. And what we get you guys to do is we take the complicated aspects of fitness and we break it down to simple, actionable items so that way you guys can transform your health, but also rebuild your healthy lifestyle. I'm your host, Coach Cory Fernandez, the owner of Training for Warrior Sauga. And today I have a special guest, one of my favorite people in this program. And I guess how I would announce her, she's my gym mom. She's someone who takes care of me. I take care of her in other ways and guiding her through her transformation journey. But the nickname that we call her here is MK the Motivator, because she's someone who genuinely inspires and motivates the people that come through these doors. But she's also someone who just wants the best for everybody. You know, when we have new people that come in and they don't understand how to do the jumping jacks, they don't understand the slogans, they don't understand how to put their shoes properly, she's one of the first people to go and try to make them feel comfortable, but also teach other people the Training for Warriors way, but also the 5 pillars of Excelsior Health kind of standards that we're trying to instill. So she's accomplished so much on the journey. She still has so much that she's going to continue to do. But today is about her sharing her journey, which is very unique. It's very inspirational. So we're going to kind of go deep into her story. And I know whether you are someone who's terrified to start your fitness journey, whether you're someone who's in your 50s and your 60s and you're like, is it too far gone? Like, can I still get results? Can I do this? You are definitely going to be educated and inspired by what MK has to share today. So without further ado, MK, the Motivator.
Hey,
Give me a
Coach.
big hug, my girl.
Oh, thank you so much. What an honor.
So I know when I started this, you probably were like, oh my God, when am I going to like do my episode and what am I going to say? And then like literally like 2 days ago, I was just thinking like, as I was preparing, I was like, you know what? It's MK's 65th?
65th, yes.
65th birthday. I believe you're the oldest in the program, right?
I think there may be another person who's 64, but I don't know when they're
In that range, but MK is the gym mom, you know, in here. So today, I think is an amazing opportunity since it is her birthday weekend. She's 65 years old. She's training in this program for close to 8 years in September.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's going to be a great opportunity for her to share all the things that she's accomplished and just kind of give her insight. And I think a lot of you guys, whether you're new to the program or again, you're someone who's in your 50s and 60s and want to like learn about strength training and living healthier, she's a great person to learn from. All right. So Motivator, first kind of question I would say is like, walk us through starting your journey. What was that like?
Oh my gosh. So I came to TFW Sauga through a friend of mine, a coworker who had joined Erin Negra, and I got to see her transformation before my eyes. And she was always trying to get me to join a gym or do something because I needed it. I needed something in my life at that point. And to see her transformation, she did talk me into setting up a meeting with you. And I was a nervous wreck, honest to goodness, because this was not something I was used to and accustomed to. Because back in my day, women did not work out with weights. We were in the aerobic room and the men did the weights. Exactly.
Just kind of
two more.
doing the cardio, the Zumba vibes.
Exactly.
Right.
And it was quite daunting, just understanding, even though I knew what Erin was doing. She's a lot younger. I was thinking for myself, I'm like, oh my God, am I going to be able to do this? But I did what I needed to do. And I sent that message to you. And I think I even asked you, is this something for me? I'm this blankety blank years old, okay, 57 years old at that time. And your response was amazing. So that was my first attempt. Trust me, Erin had tried many times to get me to do different things to try to help improve my health.
I remember that email like yesterday. Not email, Facebook Messenger.
Messenger, yeah.
But it's funny, there's certain things you can go back and like you just remember it so distinctively. And yeah, one of our former members, Aaron, recruited MK to kind of sign up. You know, people, Aaron had amazing transformation herself. And that's what usually happens is people then, you know, say, hey man, try out this program. This is what I'm doing. And I believe you messaged me first, and it was this long paragraph of like, hey, I'm MK, I'm 57 years old, I'm like 250 something pounds. I'm terrified. Like, I don't know if I can do this. And I just remember me reading it and just being like, man, like, I got to be smart with my words right now because this woman needs our program. And if I say the right things, she might join. And I don't remember everything I said, but basically the gist of the message was like, hey, you're perfect for the program.
Mm-hmm.
This is exactly what you need. And, you know, I can't wait to meet you. And like, let's get you set up for a meeting. What was the initial meeting? Was it a transformation meeting or was it orientation?
I think it was, no, the orientation was after that. It was the
One-on-one meeting?
one-on-one meeting with
Yeah.
you, yes.
Did we do like, was your first like experience a workout or was it just meeting?
Just meeting.
Okay.
Just meeting.
So walk me through that. Like, what was your, you know, we had that meeting. I obviously said the right things to make you feel like, okay, like I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
Give us a little bit of like, how were you feeling during that time? You know, you were well more overweight, you know, you huge transformation. How were you feeling physically? How were you feeling emotionally, mentally? And then walk us through what that starting experience was like.
Physically, I was in bad shape. I was my highest, my measured highest because I avoided the scale like the plague. I saw 267 on that scale. And I was just in bad shape. And obviously being that heavy and only being 5'1", that's quite daunting. And I didn't know any better on how to do it. I did crash diets, but they never really worked. It was like a down 10 pounds, up 20, down another 10, up 20. So it was not working for me. And emotionally, it played a toll on me. You know, I was a single mom raising 2 boys, and they were my guiding light. So, you know, everything that I wanted to do for myself, I was wanting to do for them, but I didn't understand that I really need to do it for myself, not for anybody else. But that was my mindset back then. I'm like, oh, I need to do something. I don't want to be in a casket early in my life. You know, you hear all the stories. My doctor was constantly on me about, you know, you need to lose weight, you need to lose weight. And there was always triggers on my blood work that, you know, I need to put you on this medication, or if you don't improve, we're going to have to do this, we're going to have to do that. And it scared the bejeebies out of me. Mm-hmm. And then when Aaron mentioned a 28-day offer that you had, I was like, okay, 28 days, I can do that. I can suck it up for 28 days. And then we had that meeting, and just hearing what you were saying about the program, you got me to sign up for the 28 days. I wasn't locked in when Aaron was telling me, but when you and I met, I'm like, okay, let's lock it in.
What was it? Because like, you know, there's a lot of people, that's honestly, there's that expression is like the heaviest weight lifted in the gym is the front door. It's like getting people through. So for you, like, what was it though? Like, I know it's 8 years ago, but like, what was it, I guess, about the program or myself that kind of made that light switch go on to be like, okay, I trust you to like try?
Well, you came down to my level, right? You weren't talking over and above what I know. And I knew I needed to do something. I just didn't know how. And you were sharing that there was many people that have come through this door that have had great transformations. And it all starts by showing up. Mm-hmm. And you also explained how the program starts right from the beginning stages, where you're not at the bar, you're doing beginner moves. And this is something that, you know, when you were sharing it with me, it was resonating. I'm like, okay, I'm not, you know, I saw people in here. When I took a peek in the door, I saw that people were lifting weights, and I knew what men did back in the day, lifting weights, and that scared me. But you assured me it was your approach to be natural, and it was just a convincing conversation. I can't remember the words,
details of
right?
it,
The details of it, but you made me feel at ease. And that was really important because I was afraid.
Yeah.
I was very nervous.
I think that's a point that I want to emphasize is like, it's normal to feel scared. It's normal to feel emotional when you're starting a fitness journey. But I think things for people that are investigating, coaches, whether it's online, in person, is you want to be able that when the coach explains stuff to you, you see the light. Like it just makes somewhat sense of like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is the time frame that it somewhat looks like, and this is the type of results that I'm going to get. And I think a key thing that you just said is we spoke down to your level where it made you feel at least understood.
Yeah.
And the guard was down that you can go out there and make mistakes and you can give it a shot.
Absolutely.
Okay. So let me kind of just see a little bit here. So give me some insight to the first workout.
Okay. So there's a couple of them that come to mind. I remember my first hurricane. The dojo was like, it was crazy packed and everybody was doing the sprinting and I was always the last person. And I'm like, I'm sorry, as I was high-fiving everybody. I never forget that. It's tattooed in my head, those high fives. And I'm like, I'm sorry. And everybody was just so welcoming. Like, why are you apologizing? It's okay. It's good. You're here. And then the other moment was, doing body weight squats and I was holding onto a wall. I remember I was holding onto that wall for support to do
The lunges,
the squats. Well, lunges for sure. And that moment that I graduated to the bar was such a highlight. You do the moves, you make sure you're doing the form. And I was always trying my best to make sure my form was on point and listening to the coaches, learning from the coaches. Obviously, I'm making mistakes, but if somebody said something to me, I was always ready to perfect it. I'm always about the form now. Like that's ingrained in me is form.
Yeah. And I want everyone to understand like a good program should be scalable. So like MK is saying, when she started her journey, it wasn't like, man, here we go, back squats. We're doing burpees today. We're going box jumps. We're like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So for her, now she loves back squats. That's probably like your favorite move.
One of my favorites. Yeah.
But when she started, it was literally body weight squats where she couldn't squat deep. But part of what allowed her to get to this place where she's doing all these big lifts now is the warm-ups, the mobility that we addressed, just like the body weight movement, learning. And over the course of time, she's been able to add more of these advanced. But I remember when you could barely do a squat and then it became the goblet squats and it was the graduation of these things, right? Where now, again, at 65 years old, what's your PR?
My PR back squat is 175. My PR deadlift.
Which is more than your body weight.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
My deadlift is 235 for 2. My overhead has always been my nemesis, but I'm getting up there. I'm about 75. And then my bench press is 110.
So there's times where like MK is lifting with like grown men.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And with women that are 30 years younger than you.
Yeah.
So it's like, how does that make you feel?
I'm very proud. I kind of like it when I see one of the guys looking at the weights on my bar and they're just like, how are you lifting that? That's like a highlight for me.
So talk to me a little bit about what have you accomplished? You've been in this program 8 years at Training for Warriors. What are you most proud about in terms of what you accomplished? Take us through some things.
There's so many things. In 8 years, I've done Mud Girl twice. I've completed 75 hard. I completed the full year, Live Hard. I'm lifting heavy ass weights. And that to me is probably my greatest accomplishment is just being able to lift. I never understood the power of building muscle and why it was so important in our lives, especially as women, especially as aging women. There's so many women out there that their muscle mass is declining and they're not lifting weights and they become very frail. My mother was that. And I said, I'm not going down like that. I'm going to continue lifting. I'm going to be that 75 and 85-year-olds still lifting weights. I may not be lifting 175 on my back, but I will still be lifting and back squatting.
What other things are you super proud of? Talk about, like,
Okay.
don't be shy, girl. Talk about some of these results that you...
Okay. Yeah, I'm super proud. So as I said, I was
267.
Yeah. That was, and I think my body fat percentage was like 53%. It was really, really high. And currently I'm down, I'm less weight, I'm less 100 pounds from that point. My body fat is down probably almost 20%, almost there. Yeah. So I'm
How's it feel to say that though? Like, I'm down 100 pounds from where I once was. Like, that's another person.
That's something, that's not a lot of people can say that.
Yeah. It's
such an amazing accomplishment. And sometimes you forget, Rena had said to me once, I had a dumbbell, 100-pound dumbbell on my lap doing a bench or hip thrust, dumbbell hip thrust, and it was 100 pounds. She goes, you lost that.
Yeah.
Imagine you were carrying that around your body every day.
And that's, I mean, I tell you this stuff all the time, but like, this is for everybody, is like, being, like you said, 260 something pounds, 52% body fat, like that's years off of your life.
Yeah.
And it's the fact that you've kind of reversed your quality of life and length of life, that you literally added probably a decade back to your life. And also opened up the doors now of like the things you can do. And that's what MK was mentioning. I did the mud run, I'm doing this. Like, that's the quality of life that we're trying to talk about, guys. It's not just looking better. It's just like, what can you do with your life? And that's what we mean by bringing out the warrior within.
Right? Oh, but I look better too.
What would be any other things that you want to talk about in terms of like just proud moments and accomplishments?
Yeah, definitely. One thing I love is when I do see my doctor now, he actually shares with his associates, this is a great success story. He's super proud. And yes, sometimes he'll try to prescribe something for me if something's off. And I know now that I have that mindset that I'm in control of my health, and I will look for other ways. What can I do opposed to having to take a prescription? Not that I'm against, conventional medicine. It's just I have a different mindset. So I'm super proud that I'm able to make decisions for myself, for my health, because I'm in control.
What's helped you develop that mindset?
Learning, constantly learning. I wasn't the greatest in school, so I always have this, thing about my past, which wasn't the greatest, but I feel that compass up there has all the core values that I didn't know I had inside of me. Being able to push forward in tough times and to be able to act differently than how I was feeling. Those are huge things that I was able to learn about myself being in this program. And if it wasn't there, how would I know that?
Yeah.
It's not something that you discuss amongst your friends and your family. Those things are usually kept quiet. So I didn't need to discuss things, but just learning about the compass and all the core values that we follow here has definitely opened up my eyes and my mind.
And I believe what MK is also expressing is like, in the past, it would have been like the doctor says, well, just do this. And like, you have no reference, you have no other understanding. It's just like, okay, where now she understands a little bit more on the impacts of her decisions, where it's like, I have control over my health journey. It's not just, please give me a prescription and like, hopefully this works. It's like, no, I got to do my part. I got to walk. I got to eat healthy. I got to sleep, manage my stress. I got to exercise. That's the knowledge she's talking about. But then what led to you acquiring the knowledge is the values of what we talk about in this program, right? It's Kaizen, which means constant focusing on self-improvement. So I relate with what you're saying is, I used to be a person at one point that I never read a book. I never learned. Like, I'd rather watch TV, but this program inspired me to learn, which then now has led to so many other things being improved when it comes to my health and my life. What are some ways outside of the fat loss of 100 pounds down, getting your first push up and running, like the physical stuff, what's some other things in your life that have been enhanced, improved, upgraded because of your focus on your health now?
I think the relationship with myself. Um, I I had a really hard time looking at myself in pictures and in the mirror. I would tear myself down. I had definitely body dysmorphia. It was really, really bad. And I've been able to come to love myself, you know, love the curves, love my age. I'm very proud. Um, that's, I think, one of my greatest accomplishments because it was very unhealthy.
Hmm.
And sorry. No.
Give, like, I know, but like give people some insight because, people don't talk about it a lot, but a lot of people struggle with body dysmorphia. Like, share a little bit of what happened to you, in terms of with your face and things like that you've gone through, that you've shared, that you've overcome, the confidence to look in the mirror. Share a little bit about that.
I've had Bell's palsy twice in my life. And it's not the worst thing to happen, but it's what you represent. It's your face. And having your face droop and be paralyzed, half of your face be paralyzed. It was a horrible time. I had it once when I was 11, and I had it again. I think I was about 56, around that. So it was prior to coming here. And it was horrible. It's a stress-induced. Yes, it's a virus, but it's also stress-induced. And my whole life was a stress ball. So being able to, look at myself in the mirror and look at the pics. I post now. I post proud.
You post a lot.
I post a lot.
Which I love.
Because I'm super proud. So that right there tells you that, you've got demons. Everybody has some demons about themselves, about their life. But it's how do you overcome it? How do you turn that into something that's positive?
Mm-hmm.
And you can't do it alone, but you can't sit back and think that things are going to change if you don't change. And I had to change.
Yep.
I needed this. I needed this kick in my butt to get me going. And I've never looked back. I've been here 8 years. I'll probably be a lifer.
Mm-hmm.
So just so you know, I'm not going anywhere because it works. The program works and I love it. I cannot imagine. I'm a 4-day for lifer and I cannot miss a workout. I'm a challenge junkie. I love the shreds that we do. I'm on a walking challenge. I'm on my 2nd year of walking every single day. I'm in a yoga challenge.
I thought you were going to say those, like, just so everybody knows, when I was talking about her accomplishments, like she left out a lot of stuff just so I could say, okay, she walked every single day for a whole year. And hello, people, we live in Canada where there's friggin' snowstorms. It doesn't matter. She did that every day, documented on social media, inspired other people within our community to do it as well. Did a yoga challenge. Is this still going on?
Yeah.
How many days?
This Thursday will be 500 days every day.
500 days
in studio
of yoga. So that's an amazing accomplishment. The movement every single day. Other things that you didn't mention, she's one of our student of the years.
Oh, yes.
So we've been in this, this facility. We've been blessed to be here. It's going to be 10 years in January. I remember one of the years, I was wrapping up a session. It might have been a Saturday morning. It was MK and one of our former student of the year is Claudia. And this is before Claudia or MK won it. They were both like, man, coach, I just want to let you know, one of my goals is to be, actually Claudia said it, to be student of the year. And then MK is like, well, I want to be student of the year too. And then it was so funny that Claudia then won it. And then not too long after that, MK won it, which, there's only a handful of people that have done that over the last course of 9 years. So it just shows how much she's accomplished, how many relationships she's impacted. So you should be super proud of that. Never forget that,
I never forget that moment. It was such an honor. Absolutely.
What I was going to go back to what you were saying with the stress, because what a lot of people don't realize, like the root of all diseases and the thing that impacts people's health like so much is the relationship with stress. And if I go back and I remember Erin even describing you, or she was more describing like how you were now, she was like, man, like MK used to be so tense, wound up, irritated at work
Yeah.
sometimes. And it's like, I guess talk about what are some tools that you've equipped yourself with along the way that has allowed you to better handle stress?
Yeah, that was a tough time. I remember I was very irritated and it came about on my team, which was never it's never a good thing to display that. And I've since apologized to each of them to say, I'm really sorry, it wasn't you, it was me, just to let them know because I didn't want them carrying that, even when they moved on to another career. But some of the tools, you don't realize the power of working out, the things that it releases, the sleep, all of the components of our 5 pillars. They all play a part. And it's things that stories that you guys share, tips that you share, just the community. But definitely for myself, I would definitely say the sleep was huge. I I never used to sleep. There was no sleep quality. There was no sleep quantity. I would survive on 3 hours. I thought I was surviving on 3 hours sleep until I really realized that it was an important part of my growth, and it just changed the course of my day. Things, simple as sleep would change the course of my day. And just the whole aspect of learning. And I would learn, forget about just learning the things within the dojo walls, but outside, it helped me learn to be better in my career, to be a better person, a better human, learning about gratitude and understanding. I was not somebody who would write a gratitude journal I was always grateful, but I wasn't living it and showing it. So there's so many different things that helped me change how I was as a person. And I've always been taught to be kind to people. So if I was acting in a certain way, it was what I was going through, the stress I was going through, the
Yeah, a lot of
life I was
times
going
people
through.
don't realize it, right?
Yeah.
And like from my even own development as a coach when it comes to fitness and health, is we can be more irritated. We could have more lashing out, especially on the people we love that see us the most. Is because we're not healthy. We're not right, or we don't know how to regulate our stress. So that's a big part of what like transforming your health. And to be honest, the Excelsior Health that we're trying to promote, that's what it is when you exercise regularly, 3, 4 days a week of strength training, it's a method of relieving stress. When you walk every day, like MK dedicated to being out there with nature, whether it's vitamin D, kissing the skin, whether you're forest bathing, that's a method of stress reduction. Other ways, guys, when you surround yourself with other people, I think that's probably been a really cool is the relationships
Absolutely.
that you've built, right? When you spend time with other positive people, it helps you deal with the stresses that you might be going through in your life. As MK mentioned, it's like the lessons that you're learning, the philosophies, the mantras, you start to equip yourself with, oh, these are new ways of thinking on how to be more resilient. And I think one of the biggest things you said is like, guys, if you're not sleeping properly, like stress becomes magnitude, like it just amplifies how much more stressful that life becomes, right? So what I want to do, because you mentioned it, the 5 pillars. So that's what our whole podcast is about is we're trying to give you guys tips on how to transform your health. But I'm a firm believer, it's like you can't just work out and think everything's going to fall into place. There's these 5 key areas that if you address these 5 key areas, you're going to see your life change. And then, of course, the results are going to come. So MK, as someone who's like living these and you're working through them yourself, give the busy professional, the busy parent, your old self, give them these tips right now. So starting out with number 1, which is your training and movement. What's one tip that you would give that busy professional?
Get through the door. Like once you're here, the hardest part is getting up and motivating yourself to work out. Once you're here and you do it, you feel so accomplished. you're like, what was I thinking? Why was I so nervous or lazy about? Because it's an hour. It's 1 hour workout 4 times a week. We have 168 hours. So you can clearly get to the gym or dojo 4 hours a week. It's so important. You know, movement is medicine. And that was the best prescription for me, was coming here and learning how to move my body and how important it is. So 4 days for life.
Awesome. What would be your second pillar would be nutrition habits. What would be a tip for the busy professional, busy parent when it comes to nutrition?
You know, for me, I had to come back to basics. You know, I've been in the program 8 years. I've had great successes, but you get comfortable sometimes. So I had to come back to basics, and I had to track my macros and understand my portions. And that meant documenting, measuring, because once you start doing it and you get comfortable and you start doing it with your eye, you don't realize you're adding calories.
Yeah.
So that was, for me, is definitely the nutrition of tracking my macros and my portions. That helped me along the way. And then supplements. You know, I try to eat whole foods, but sometimes I need some extra, you know, the vitamins, you know, especially during the winter. We need that vitamin D, the vitamin C, and the protein and all of the other things. I didn't start off taking creatine. I was, you know, with your guidance, I was ready to take the creatine, the pre-workout, and the protein powders. Those are all my go-tos.
There you go.
Yeah.
And like MK said, like nutrition is probably the hardest pillar, to be honest, but it's the one that has the absolute most impact. If someone puts their attention to their nutrition, they're going to get the greatest reward when it comes to losing body fat, being more toned. But then also I would even say your energy, like inflammation, like there's so much impacts that nutrition does. It's just difficult. So it's like step one is like learn what quality food is, right? You got to learn what is protein, what are carbohydrates, what are fats. And then the step above that is like, okay, how do I track some of these things? And that's what MK is constantly, we're always working on this, is most people significantly underestimate how much they eat. And we overestimate how much we move. We think we move so much, but we don't move a lot. We sit on our ass like all the time. We drive in a car, like, so it's like you really got to pay attention to the amount of food you're eating. And that's something that most busy professionals just don't do. So a really good tip that you're giving is like, write it out. Doesn't mean you have to write it out forever, but spending a month, spending 2 weeks being aware of the food is going to make a huge impact, right? Supplements too. That was another good point. I think what I would add in with supplements is just like, supplement is in addition to a sound nutrition diet. So I think sometimes people try to speed it up and go to the supplements for a quick fix. It's not going to work. If you're not eating properly, sleeping properly, working out, like the supplements are not going to support you as much. But definitely, you know, over time, adding those in are going to only fill in the gaps where sometimes we don't get it with our nutrition.
Absolutely.
Right? What would be for you a recovery? I mean, you talked about
we talked about sleep,
yeah,
but there's so many other elements within the rest and recovery. Sleep quality and quantity is number one. But what I do to help ensure I have a good sleep is that I prep myself before I go to sleep. I kind of do a wind down. I make sure I don't eat before technology and my phone, and then just making sure the setting in my room is ready for me to have a good night's sleep. So it's not just getting the number, but it's the quality portion that's important. How do you get that? Is by doing like a reverse alarm and ensuring that when you put your head to the pillow, it's going to be a sound sleep.
So that's one tool you use a lot, is the reverse alarm?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for those of you guys that might not know, reverse alarm, hey, we wake up in the morning and we have an alarm that says, hey, get your ass up. Reverse alarm is just like, hey, get your ass to bed. Like disconnect, like slow down. Like, so a lot of people might do that an hour before it's like time to get in bed. And then what MK was talking about was 3-2-1-0 sleep formula. So maybe share a little bit what that means.
Sure. So 3 hours before we're finishing eating, I do not eat after a certain hour. Like I try to reverse it. I try not to eat after 6:30, but just
Sometimes, yeah, you're going to break that.
right?
Yeah.
It's going to break that. And then 2 hours before I go to bed, hopefully before 2 hours, but I've stopped working.
It's a hard one for a
It's
lot
a
of
hard
people.
one. Yeah. Because you have your phone, everything's there. You get emails for work and you address it. And then the 1 hour before is no technology. So turn off all social media. Sometimes, on the weekend, it may be a little later, but I do try my best during the week to not touch social media. And then the 0 is that darn snooze button in the morning.
Yeah.
It's get up, get out of bed, and start moving on that first alarm clock goes off.
Is doing your best to not start your day with like breaking trust. No, let me sleep like an hour extra. Let me sleep a half. No, it's like, get up. Let's go, man. You made the commitment. Let's start the day with momentum. Okay, good. So, hey, we got training. We talked about nutrition habits, rest and recovery. The last two, I think, are the most important. They are what stop people from doing everything that you just said. So give a tip, when it comes to building a resilient mindset and then for a positive environment.
Resilient mindset, you have to have goals. That is like the first element in your journey is have some goals and a vision to see where you want to go. And then obviously you're going to get help on how to get there. And also learning. That's been a great one for me. And I don't know if you know this, but when you're walking and you're learning at the same time, you have a far greater chance of reducing the effects of dementia. And that's huge for me.
Huge, man.
My mom had dementia, and it was horrible watching her go through that. And she didn't know any better. But had she known prior that was going to be her last few years of her life, I'm sure she would have tried to do something. And that's me. I'm not going down like that.
Yeah.
I refuse to go down like that.
But this is the stuff that 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds, like this is the conversation, guys. Most people are thinking about exercise and they're like, I don't care how I look anymore. Like, one, that's wrong. You should care how you look and you should want to be healthy. But what you just said right there is, I want to be present. I don't want dementia. I don't want Alzheimer's. So guess what? Exercise combats that. Nutrition, because what they describe Alzheimer's and dementia as like type 3 diabetes.
Exactly.
That's how it's kind of classified.
It's related to your muscle mass in your body.
Your muscle mass, the way you eat. So people that are more frail over these years, the likelihood that the brain starts to go on them, man, it's so much more higher. But like what you're saying right now, if I'm walking regularly, but then I'm stimulating my mind, I'm learning, like the chances that you're going to deal with those go so much more less, right?
Absolutely. I've always got a podcast going while I'm walking, unless I'm walking with a group and I'm enjoying the conversation with my friends. But definitely the podcasts, I'm always trying to learn. And at 63, I got my certification for precision nutrition. So I'm a certified nutritionist, and I did that at 63.
There you go. Always learning, man.
Yeah.
What's I don't know if you know this, one of the stories, but Colonel Sanders, KFC.
Yes.
Like he didn't start KFC until 60 something years old.
Exactly. Yes.
So there's anybody, because I'm sure we're going to share this a lot to anybody in their late 50s and 60s, is like, there's never too late to learn. There's never too late for you to start your fitness journey, right? What would be your positive environment tip?
Relationships. You got to surround yourself with like-minded people. I'm very blessed. I've acquired so many wonderful friendships of past and current familia here, and I think I adore every single one of them. And it's hard because if you don't surround yourself with the like-minded individuals, and I don't mean that you have to like what I like, but just being a good person, having, goals in your life. And if people work out, they like to work out with people who like to work out. So I'm very blessed that I get to do a lot of, my inside workout, but everything else outside I can do with others.
Before you came to the program, how was your relationships? Was it just as good? Was it a little bit like?
It wasn't to this level.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I had my friends, I had my close work friends, I had my family, and that was pretty much it. Now I have
You're Miss Popular now.
right?
MK's like comes through the door. What's up, girl? What's up, man? Good. The young guys, the mature guys, is like everybody knows MK. Even funny story, the way like MK got the name, it was not my first Christmas party. It was like our second, maybe it was the third. I can't remember, but it was a Christmas party. And, we love to have fun. We love to mix and get people going. But anyways, music is bumping. At the time, Susie is pregnant. No, is she pregnant? No.
No,
She just had Easton. So she's like loose. First time she's having wine and or whatever alcohol in so many months. And MK is like first party really, because you signed up in September.
Yeah.
And then this was like your first party in like early December. MK and Susie are on the table dancing, shaking their butts, and then they both fall off the table because they're having such a blast. But that was like when I was like, yo, MK, I like this girl. That was
we were doing a lip sync song.
Yeah.
And it was Michelle and Aaron. I'm like, okay, you cannot introduce us as Michelle and Aaron. So I said, call us MK and Aaron X. And then that was it. I never went back.
That was where it came from. And now she's MK the Motivator. All right. So those are some great tips. Is there anything that it's 8 years you've been in this program. Hey, you're certified nutrition. You're on this road of, getting to 150 MK and breaking through into those 20s of body fat percentage, getting your first chin up. You got some goals that we're going to hit.
100%.
But is there
I got to get my name on that.
Brute
that wall.
status, Legion status. Yeah. Is there anything that you know now that you didn't know, and it took this journey to really understand, like breaking through some of these myths or even your own false beliefs? What's some things that you know now that it took some time to kind of get through?
Yeah. Nikesa hit this one, and this one always resonates with me. On the airplane, when the steward or stewardess is telling you to always put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you put it onto others. Honestly, I would give them a look and go, yeah, okay, whatever. I'm putting it on my kids first, because I didn't understand. But just going through this journey and understanding that you cannot help others until you help yourself. I was always that mom that was always my kids first, my kids first, my kids first. And what I was doing is I was hurting myself, because I took them to every sport event that they went through. And as a single mom, I was busy. I was like driving here, driving there, and taking care of their physical and mental needs, but I didn't take care of myself. So that whole oxygen mask on yourself first hit me through this journey hard. I was like, okay, I get it. I understand. Like, how can I help others, myself, my family, my friends, if I'm not taking care of myself first? And it's not selfish. It's smart.
And one of my favorite books is called Winning by Tim Grover. He talks about the difference of like selfish. It's like if you hear the phrase selfless, everybody goes like, oh yeah, that's so great. Like self-care, like everybody's self-care. Go get your nails done, go get your hair done, MK. But selfish has this negative, but there's different types of selfish. And that's what I love when he talked about this. Winning requires you to be selfish at times. You have to learn how to prioritize yourself. But Tim Grover says like a selfish winner is someone who understands that if they take care of themselves and they do this stuff, it's going to benefit the other people around them. And that's what you're talking about is like, if I get selfish with my time and watch the way I eat, I dedicate working out, I take care of my mind, my kids are going to have a better version. The people that I lead at work, they're going to have a better version of me. My friends are going to get a more valuable person. They're selfish losers that they do things that only benefits them. And actually the act of benefiting them, it takes away from other people. Those are completely different. And I'm a big advocate, especially for all the people that are in our program, the busy moms, the busy dads, is guys, you have to be selfish with your time. And if you do it the right way, the people you care about most, you're going to help them way more, right? What would be another myth, another lesson that you've learned along the way that you want to kind of make sure people understand?
You're never too old. You are never too old to start. There's a great quote on the front wall. It says, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. And great is just showing up for yourself, being that person that you care about your life. And that has helped the trajectory of my health in my life, is by learning to start and showing up for myself.
Mm-hmm. Another quote too, I think I said this to you before, but this is from Martin Rooney. I should have wrote this one down, but like, it's something along the lines of, you don't lose your power and your strength by getting older. It's like you get older by stop using your power and your strength.
Yes.
I might be butchering it a little bit, but it's like the point of is like, yeah, if you stop lifting heavy things, you know, you stop moving with a little bit of pace and speed, you're going to get older, right? But it just because your age is going up doesn't mean you have to stop doing those things. It's the act of stopping doing those things which makes you get older.
Yeah.
There's people that are in their 40s and 30s right now that they can't do the things that you do. You know what I mean? So that's a reminder for everybody. It's just like she said, don't let the age be the excuse. Let your age be the reason. You know, and I've said this to MK before, because she's like a mom to me, where I'm always trying to push her to be better. It's like, MK, you're 65 years old. The average age that someone lives is 80. So if you have 15 more, I know you're going to do much more than that. But if
I'm hitting 100, I'm just saying.
if you had, let's just say it like that, if you have 20 more, you know, Christmases, what are you going to do at that time? You know, and that should give everybody a sense of urgency. It's like, man, like, what else is more important than waking up each day, exercising, eating healthy, so that way I could live my life for as long as possible, with also the quality of life too.
That's important to me. I want to be independent. I don't want to be in that state where somebody is feeding me.
And you
I
know
want
that
to live long, into my 90s, potentially hitting 100, but very alert, active in my brain and in my body.
Mm-hmm. What would be, you did a great job. MK was nervous today. What would be if you go back and you saw your 57-year-old self on the phone freaking out about like, oh my God, am I going to sign up to this program? What would be some advice or some like knowledge and wisdom that you would whisper in her ears?
That's a tough one. I know what I would say. I tell her to look forward, forget your past. You've got this. You've gone through so many worse things in your life. This is a cakewalk. You just need to take a step forward and continue moving forward. Don't be nervous. And I would just keep telling her to trust herself, because she's gone through so much, and that this will be life-changing. Don't look back, just look forward and keep going.
What have you learned, I guess, through going through this transformation journey about like the past? Like, how does the past influence the future? Like, what have you learned about switching up the mindset around that?
It was a different time. You know, growing up in the 60s and the 70s, even the 80s, was a very different time. That it was very masculine driven. And you were afraid of your teachers. You were afraid of your parents. I was afraid of the teachers, afraid of my parents. But just knowing, I think the greatest thing that I've learned going through this was I didn't create the situation, but I was in control of how I reacted to the situations. And that has helped me now. So if something comes up that's an obstacle, I try to figure out, okay, how can I turn this into an opportunity versus dwelling on it? And I didn't dwell on my past. I always did look forward, but I think I pushed it so far down that now I know I'm strong. I'm strong physically, I'm strong mentally, and I'm very strong emotionally, with the exception of the tears today. But that's because you
Tears doesn't mean you're weak.
Yeah,
It just means you're
exactly.
expressing yourself.
Yeah.
But that's a big part to me of, guys, what we're trying to teach people with the Training for Warriors program is like, hey, your past does not determine your future. Just because you came from an unhealthy family doesn't mean your family has to continue to be unhealthy. Just because you came from a family that didn't have a lot of money or didn't have a lot of knowledge, like, you can change that trajectory, right? So that line that you just said is like, when I view problems or I view obstacles, they're now reframed as opportunities. And that's just like a winning mindset. And one of the biggest things that I've learned through Training for Warriors that I'm constantly trying to instill, that I believe you've developed this attitude, is the perception of the problems in your life determines your outcomes. So what I mean by that is the meaning that you give towards the events that happen, it will literally dictate the results that you get in your life. So just like you said, is like, things have happened to you in the past, but because of your shift in your mindset, you've changed the meaning, and now it's inspiring you to better yourself. Where most people, where bad things happen, they develop a victim mindset and it stops them from moving forward. They just keep replaying the same story and why they can't do certain things, where now you've developed that warrior mindset where it's like, yes, that happened to me, but that's the motivation why I can change. So I'm super proud of you, for one, just, making that step through the door and having that courage to do that, because a lot of people in their late 50s, they've given up on themselves. And you're a true inspiration, not only for people in their 50s and 60s, you're an inspiration for everybody in the dojo. And what I would say is the thing that you inspire me the most is your kindness and your heart. MK is not someone, you can try, I try it. If you talk negative around MK or you talk bad about someone around her, she just won't engage. She just won't do it. She's just not that type of person. And that's the thing that I admire so much about you. I see other people sometimes talk, you're just not that person. If you don't have nothing nice to say, you just don't do it. And I always want to tell you from the bottom of my heart, you've been in this program for 8 years. I've evolved as a person, as a man, as a leader, but you're always someone, whether you fully agreed or not, you've always trusted my judgment and supported and chose to be an advocate of our program. And I appreciate all the posts, all the events that you've shown up, all the times that you represent Training for Warriors. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate that so much. And I love you for that.
Thank you. I love you too.
Last question. What's next for you? Share basically, you're about to turn 65.
49 US.
49 US, do the currency exchange. So that means I'm 25? Shit.
I don't feel 65. I know I don't act it, but I don't feel 65. To me, that's just a number. I'm not afraid of it. I'm proud. I'm 65. I'm lifting heavy ass weights. So I'm pretty proud. But what's next?
What's next? Share.
Well, you touched.
What's
MK 150. That is my goal, is to hit 150. But also, my next body fat goal is to hit 32% and then get myself into the 20s. That's a future goal for me. But my goal by December 31st. You got to put a date to it. It can't just be something in your head. So by December 31st, I want to be 150 and at 32%.
Love it.
Yeah. And then I'm working towards, I'm doing all the moves that I need to do to help me to get that chin up. So I'm working on my upper body, working on reducing the weight, because I need to get my name on that wall under brute status.
Last one, I guess you can share is, super important is to have a goal, is to be specific, like you just said, that was measurable. We have a timeline. What's the why power? What's the emotional reason why you really want to make that goal happen?
Well, because I'm learning a lot, I read a lot, and I understand how muscle mass is crucial in aging women and men. I watch a lot of podcasts and they talk about the patients who have the dementia have such low body mass, muscle mass on their body. And it's a direct link. We talked about that earlier. And that scares the bejeebies out of me, to think that I could control my life, my trajectory to have a sound mind and a very physical, strong body. So that is my why power, because I love my mom, and I miss her terribly, but to watch her not even know who I was for 3 years and just have, moments that she would recognize me, was horrible to watch her go through that. And to think that you can somewhat control that in your life, that's my strong why power. My why power's changed. I'm sure
it evolves, right?
it evolves.
Yeah.
Like my why power when we first met was my kids. It was all about my kids, that I wanted to be healthy for my kids. Yes, I still want to be healthy. So it is really for them so that I can be around longer with them. But the big one is, it scares me, that whole dementia. I'm watching my mother-in-law go through it right now, and it's really tough.
I'll say my why power for you as your coach to help get you to where you want to be is, again, you're such an advocate for the program, and so much people love you and admire you, but I want it to be more. You know what I'm saying? I want them to like visually look at you and see what you can do and be like, wow, that's why this woman, has been here for 8 years, 10 years. Look what this system has done. And that's one of the things I always want is like the people that support is like, I want you guys to be so proud of your journey and for other people to see all the hard work that you've put in. So I know we're going to crush some of those goals, but like, that's my why power to push you to be, just to be that example, which you are, but I know we got more that we're going to tap into.
Absolutely.
Right.
So hearing, Geraldine, when we first kind of met and were hanging out, and she told me that it was my transformation
photo,
that helped her join us here. And that meant a lot to me. And that's what I want to do. Yeah. I want to be able to inspire. And the reason why I took the course was I had this great journey, but I want to be able to help people and, help them with their nutrition and understand the importance of knowing what you're putting into your body. And I'm not saying I don't have my treats, but there has to be a balance. And you have to understand, you have to know what you're putting in your body.
Yep.
And understand the moments that you enjoy are great, enjoy. But it can't be the higher percentage of what you're intaking.
Well, I look forward to it. I look forward to the transformation. I look forward to you helping more people. You definitely help so much people in the dojo, like integrate and feel comfortable and feel motivated in here. And then also today, hey, I appreciate you coming in. This was like short notice, like MK, get in here. But that's usually how she is. If I need her, she's without a question, she's here.
Absolutely.
But, MK, thank you so much for sharing a little bit of your story, your results, but then also inspiring like all of you guys that listen to this today. If you're someone, again, in your late 50s, like MK started 8 years ago, if you're in your 60s, there's nothing more important that you can do than take care of your health. And it starts by walking. Maybe it's 2 to 3 days of strength training. It's starting to focus on quality nutrition, prioritizing your sleep, getting some learning in, and then, hey, improving your relationships by surrounding yourself with some people that just basically their priority is making themselves healthy too. So share this one out, guys. Send this to your mom, your dad, and uncle. Send it to the grandparents. Let's get our community, let's get our family more healthier. And guys, do me a favor, like, comment, share our Instagram stuff. It just helps us grow the show and allow me to get more amazing guests that we can provide more value. So I'm Coach Cory, MK the Motivator. We are signing out. Beastin'.